Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tipoff 2025-2026. I'm Ron Poniewasz, Newcastle News Sports Editor, joined by Mr. Larry Kelly, a member of the Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George law firm. He's also an assistant baseball coach for Penn State Shenango, former ninth grade basketball coach, boys at Newcastle, and was a member of Ralph Blundo's boys basketball staff as an assistant. Also the head baseball coach at Shenango, varsity former, and St. Vitus, too, I believe it was.
No. Holy Redeemer. Get it right, baby. Diocesan champs. Get it right.
Okay, fully redeemed.
Sixth grade girls.
I just know it was a parochial school.
Yeah. Fifth and sixth grade girls. Wrote a book about it called Cutting Down the Nets.
There you go.
Never had more fun coaching in my life.
And it wasn't a children's book either with pop-up pictures, was it?
No, it wasn't. Fifth and sixth grade girls. It was about our journey to a diocesan championship.
Gotta love it. All right, Larry Kelly, as we are here for PIAA basketball for tip-off, we're going to have several segments here. We're going to tell you about a young man that had quite a performance in a state playoff game for his team. Larry will talk about the Newcastle High boys basketball team and the Red Hurricane Minute. We'll close up shop on a couple of teams that were eliminated in state basketball action over the weekend. And then we'll look ahead at the schedule that we have coming up for games on Tuesday and Wednesday. But first, Athlete of the Week. You know, for these first two segments that we have, I may as well just go down the road, get a bag of grease, and have a meal. We'll let you take care of this because this is all Newcastle, the first two segments. As Athlete of the Week is sophomore guard Kai Cox, 6'2". He had 22 points in a 68-38 win over Wilson, the character from Home Alone. Wilson from Home Alone. Quite a performance by Kai Cox.
Well, you guys are a little late to the party. It's about time Kai Cox is Athlete of the Week because for my money, and this may be a biased opinion, he's the best player in Lawrence County. And there's some good ones out there. Don't get me wrong. There's David Quad from the Shannock. There's Bobby Fadden from Mohawk, but Kai Cox, in my view, is in a league of his own. If he isn't the MVP of Section 2, 6A, whatever, he should be. I can't imagine anybody else getting that award. He's now been an all-conference player 2 years in a row. He's a special player who not only has the skills, but also the basketball IQ that really is a difference maker. The one thing I like about Cox, Kai, he always makes the right play. If they lay off him, he'll shoot a three and make it. He had three against Wilson. If they get up in his grill, he'll drive it right past them. And when he gets in the paint, he either finishes or he dishes for an assist. I'd like to know how many assists he's had this year. But he has a high basketball IQ, always seems to make the right play, has become our defensive stopper as the year has gone by. I think Coach Belundo's been putting him on the best offensive player for the other team. And Kai is quick as a cat. I mean, he can lull you to sleep when he's guarding you, and the next thing you know, he picks your pocket and he takes it down for a layup. So, you guys were a little late to the party. Kai Cox, Athlete of the Week. I will just say it's about time. He's well deserving.
Well, you obviously know our protocol for picking Athlete of the Week. We do not double up on somebody. We don't have repeat winners unless they are district or state champs in terms of individual. And we knew going ahead that early in the season that Newcastle was going to be a great team. So if we burned Kai Cox in any of the early weeks, guess what? We're talking about somebody else this week. So that's why we saved as best as we could somebody like players from Newcastle. That's our.
So you saved the best for last, is what you're trying to tell me here.
Well, if we had burned him, in December or January, he could have 45 points in the state playoff game. If we've already used them, we'll find somebody from Wilmington or Neshannock.
All right, and everybody that's been selected has been worthy. I don't want to suggest that they haven't, because they have, but. Kai Cox has been a special player for Newcastle 2 years in a row. And, if we're going to make a run in the state playoffs, it's going to be because of Kai Cox and what he brings to the table offensively, defensively, as a playmaker. The kid's a special player. I don't know, and I've been in Newcastle a long time, and I've been watching it a long time. I don't know that we've ever had a better player as a freshman and a sophomore. Maybe David Young would be the only one who could be comparable. And for those old timers, they know that David Young played his freshman year at Union High School, played his sophomore year at Newcastle. But Kai's a special player. Marino Graham's a special player. Damian Harrison, special player. They got a bunch of special players on this team, and that's why they are who they are. And that's why there's a pretty good chance we're going to make a run in this state playoff.
Through the game Saturday, the win over Wilson, Kai Cox now has 822 career points. So you got to figure, I'm not sure, I can't forecast how many more games Newcastle will play this year. I know if they make the state title game, it'll be 4 games. But if he does end up playing all 4 of those games and averages 20 points a game, gets 80 points, he will surpass the 900-point mark through just 2 seasons, which is very impressive.
He has a pretty good chance to be a 2,000-point scorer, and there haven't been many of those in Lawrence County. There just haven't. And when you do it at Newcastle, you're doing it as part of the offensive program. You're doing it as part of the offensive scheme. This isn't a one-man show. It never is at Newcastle. You're doing it as part of the offensive philosophy, and that's what makes it even more special.
Absolutely. Athlete of the week, Kai Cox, 6'2", sophomore guard, 22 points in a 68-38 win over Wilson. He now has 822 career points. And the Canes get ready to play Methacton in the Class 6A playoffs on Wednesday night, 5:30 p.m. And that game will be at Penns Valley High School. But to tell you more about that, we're going to take a break, and Larry will inform you on the Red Hurricane Minute. And we'll do that next here on Tip-Off.
We all know there's an advantage to being the home team, to playing at home. And at LGKG, we have been your home team for over 90 years.
We're more than just a law firm. We're your friends, your neighbors, an advocate when life takes an unexpected turn.
We're not just lawyers that practice law. We live in this community, just like you.
When you need us most, we're at our best.
Newcastle High's Kai Cox. Kai is our athlete of the week this week. On Saturday, he led the Newcastle Red Hurricane with 22 points to knock off Wilson 68-38 in the first round of the state playoffs. Obviously, just talk about getting back on the hardwood and pulling away with the win there.
I'm happy we're back here after the championship. I know we took a tough loss, but I think we're gonna come back harder and compete for a state title.
When I talked to you on Saturday, you said this win means a lot to you, but also the seniors. What's it like helping them get that final home court win?
I love it a lot, because Mono told us just play for our seniors and just go out there and try our hardest to win and just make them get more games and just make it for them.
All right.
We're back with you here on Tip-Off for the Red Hurricane Minute. Newcastle's 24-2, getting ready for a game on Wednesday night against Methacton. As I mentioned in the Athlete of the Week segment, that game is 5:30 p.m. Wednesday in the PIAA Class 6A playoffs. Larry, what do you know about what you saw Saturday from Newcastle, and what do you know? Give us a scouting report, if anything, on Methacton.
Well, I don't know anything about Methacton. I just don't. They got a good record. When you get to the second round of the PIAA, there are no more cupcakes. And you're playing 2.5 hours away from home, which is never easy. It reminds me of the many trips that we made in the PIAA tournament to Chambersburg. I can still remember going up that mountain in that school bus, or that it was a coach bus, but I was worried the guy was going to drive over the guardrail. You get home at 2:00 in the morning. It's very difficult at this time of the year, to be playing that far away from home. the other factor that you always have in these games is the officiating. You just don't know what kind of a game will be called and officiated. Newcastle, we play very aggressively defensively. That's who we are, and that's who we've always been. And depending on how they're calling the game, it could put a few of our guys in foul trouble, and I worry about that. And we know that there's a few guys we can't lose. You lose Marino Graham, the point guard on our team, or Kai Cox, we're in trouble. Those are the guys that run the show. They're to quote Reggie Jackson, the straws that stir the drink. So, it's survive in advance. I'm sure I read the column that was written about the Newcastle game against Wilson. I can guarantee you Ralph and Jason and Billy and the staff will have everything there is to know about this team and what their tendencies are. We were always very good as a staff on picking up the tendencies of the teams that we were going to play. Every basketball team has tendencies. Every player has tendencies. And to know what the tendencies are of the opponent, it gives you an advantage. And that's always been our advantage because nobody does it better than the staff at Newcastle. And it's not just Ref. It's everybody else that's on that staff that spends hours breaking down that film. And so, look, we took care of business at home against Wilson, 30-point victory. Doesn't surprise anybody. Newcastle's one of the best teams in the state. They're playing at home. They're playing a team that's a lower seed. Score was 18-3 after the first period. It was a big crowd, energetic. Last game for the seniors on that floor, Jaden Schaefer, Quaylen Davis, Chase Lemon, Damian Harrison. Last game for those guys, so they had special incentive, and they came out and made a statement. But it's survive in advance at this point. And, 6A is loaded with talent. I was just looking at the scores from Saturday's games. The teams from the East that you got to always be wary. Methacton Charter, they won 70-40. The last time we played them in the state championship game, their three guards were being recruited by Kentucky, Kansas, and Villanova. I mean, and Father Judge may have more Division I players. They won 61-45. So, that's what you get. And to get to those schools, you got to beat Upper St. Clair again. You got to beat Central Catholic. Upper St. Clair won 66-52. And Central Catholic, they won 59-54. They had a closer, let me get that right. Central Catholic, I just had their score. I don't see it off the top of my head, but they won too. So at least I think they did. Seneca Valley lost, but Pittsburgh Central Catholic, they beat Aldernich 48-34. So, there are no cupcakes left. This is, you better have your big boy pants on moving forward because the competition gets stiff. The venues are away from home. The officiating could be different. You have to be able to adjust to how they're calling the game. But if anybody can do it, it's the Red Hurricane.
Yeah, we were talking off air. I saw a brief clip, about a minute and a half, 2 minutes or so, of Methacton's game against Whitehall, and they made a couple of three-pointers down the stretch to take the lead and then ultimately hold on. Played in a packed house. Certainly a lot of attendance there for sure. The announcer was having the time of his life with those three balls going in. You would have thought the world was ending as into it as he was. But does it worry you when you look at that score and say 49-46? Do you wonder, is this a defensive-oriented team, a slow-down team, or is that just a one-off?
I don't think anybody can slow down Newcastle. Upper St. Clair had the best. I think it was Upper St. Clair and also more so Central Catholic, I think, had the best defense in the WPIAL. Central Catholic was giving up like 40 points a game, and Newcastle had very little trouble scoring on them. I don't think the Red Hurricane are going to have difficulty scoring on anybody. I just don't. We shoot a lot of threes, though, Ronnie. We made 9 of them against Wilson. We only shot 8 foul shots. That worries me a little bit because you go on the road in a strange venue with a strange shooting background, you have a bad three-point shooting night. If you're not getting the ball in the paint and making things happen in there, you could get upset. That's the only thing that troubles me. But we're a great three-point shooting team. I don't know that we've ever had a better one.
That's saying something too, because virtually year in and year out, Newcastle is top of the line as far as perimeter shooting.
Our guys can stroke it. Let me tell you, Kai Cox, Marino Graham, Damian Harrison, especially Chase Lemon. If you lay off him, he's going to knock down threes. We had 9 against Wilson. We had 9 against Upper St. Clair. But I like to see the ball in the paint. I like to see things happen in the paint, because you go to the foul line, because you get it in the paint, you're either going to score or they're probably going to foul you. And, it was a little different with Upper St. Clair. They had Ryan Robbins sitting there at 6'8", waiting for us. So, again, I like the Red Hurricane. I do. We just can't have a bad shooting night from 3,
And Newcastle is 24-2 going into this game. Methacton is 23-4. The winner on Wednesday night gets the survivor of the Central Dauphin Souderton matchup, and that game will be on Saturday at a time and site to be determined, probably somewhere between the Pittsburgh area and Utah.
If you look at the bracket, is Upper St. Clair on our side of the bracket? I'm sure they are.
Yeah, that might be like the next game after that.
The next round. It's probably the Western Final. To get to the championship game, normally you got to win 4, or that would be the 4th game. So,
that at Chambersburg, Central Catholic, Upper St. Clair, Red Lion, on the bottom part of it.
Yeah. So, again, we may be seeing teams from the WPIL. I'm okay with that. I just don't want to see Imhotep Charter or Father Judge until we get to the state final. If you remember, maybe the best team we've ever had, maybe even better than the 2014 PIAA State Championship team, our 2013 team with Brandon Dominic, with Sean Anderson, Malik and Anthony. Those guys were juniors. Tone Rudolph was on that team. We lost to Lower Merion in the Western Final at Williamsport by 4 points, and Lower Merion went on to win the state championship. But Lower Merion is a team from the East that, they put them in the Western bracket. I always say, had we played that team in the state championship game, I think we beat them. But they were 4 points better that night, and that was a great Newcastle team. Maybe even better than the team that won the state the following year.
Right. And Central Dauphin, I am familiar with that school name, because I think the 2014 year when Newcastle headed out east to Hershey, I think Central Dauphin was a school that they stopped at to have a practice on the way out there.
We did a shoot around. Yeah, we did. We had a shoot around.
I remember.
Yeah. So again, there are no cupcakes left. And oftentimes these are 1 possession games, meaning they're going to go down to the last minute and a half of the game. And you got to be able to execute both offensively and defensively. You got to rebound your own end, and then you got to hit foul shots. If we can get to the line, I'm not worried about it. I bet this year this team shot 75% from the line. We only went to the line, shot 8 foul shots, but we hit 7. And the same thing was true against Upper St. Clair. Like, we only missed 1 or 2 foul shots in the entire game. But I like getting there just a little more often. That's just me. I like to see the ball in the paint. Good things happen when you get it there. You even open up shooting lanes for threes. You get the ball in the paint, people collapse. You kick it out. Now you're looking at a wide open 3. So that's normally the key to success. So let's have a good shooting night. We're going to play defense. I don't think we've been out-rebounded. Well, we did get out-rebounded against Upper St. Clair, but we always hold our own on the boards. And very seldom do we turn it over because we have excellent guard play. I like our chances, Ronnie. I know I'm a homer, and these are biased opinions, but I like our chances. Now, we get in there against Imhotep Charter, it might be a little bit different. But right now, I like the Red Hurricane.
Does Ralph cut you a check to be a homer? Do you get any kind of special pay?
No, Ralph cuts me no checks. Normally, LGKG cuts him big checks. Yeah, not him personally,
Right.
but the Newcastle Red Hurricane Club. Yeah, you could have run a small country on what we've given them over the last 15 years or so.
How about that? All right, that is the Red Hurricane Minute with Larry Kelly, the homer himself, and he's got the Red Hurricane.
I can't help it. I wish I could, but I can't. I'm a Red Hurricane.
Through and through.
Through and through.
All right, we will take a break, and coming up next, we will close up a couple of teams who were eliminated last round, and then look ahead to the Tuesday and Wednesday matchups. We'll do that next here on Tip-Off.
We all know there's an advantage to playing at home, to being the home team. At LGKG, we've been your home team personal injury attorneys for auto accident and workers' compensation cases for over 90 years. We know what works and how to win. We have all the credentials. At LGKG, we don't take every case. We handpick our clients so that we can give you the attention you deserve.
We're back with you here on Tip-Off, and first off, in our secondary topics, we have two teams that were eliminated from the PIAA field. Going into it, we had 6 teams. We're down to 4. Those 2 teams that got eliminated, 1 boys team, 1 girls team. That's the Neshannock boys first. We'll start with them. They were the District 7th place team. They finished 19-7 after losing Saturday afternoon 54-36 to United. That game being played at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. And I talked to John Corey after the game, and he said they missed a lot of good opportunities and a bunch of layups. Those are 2 things that you can't do in any game, much less a state playoff game.
No, you can't. Look, again, there's 3 statistics that I always looked at to determine the winner of the game. Rebounding, who won the rebounding battle? I don't know that, because in looking at the box score, that doesn't tell me that. Who won the turnover battle? I don't know that either, because you can't tell from looking at the box score. And then the third element was, again, who went to the line more often? Because that tells me that you're running really good offense, you're allowing dribble penetration, and when that happens, good things happen. And in looking at this box score, United shot 24 foul shots, made 15. Neshannock, conversely, shot 5. Shot 6. So they're 2 for 6 from the line. United is 15 for 24, which tells me, Neshannock's a little bit like Newcastle. They shoot a lot of threes, and they made 6 of them. But if you're having an off shooting night and they played this game on the road, your chances of winning are significantly decreased. And again, they got outscored. They went to the line 24 foul shots. United made 15, and Neshannock made 2. So there's 13-point difference in what was an 18-point game. So there you go. I mean, again, there's something to be said about getting to the line, because you're running good offense, you're getting the ball in the paint, and from there you can make a lot of good things happen. So, they had a good season. They probably had a poor shooting night. I think it's what you just said that John Corey told me. Not only maybe did they miss a lot of layups, but they probably missed a lot of threes too, even though they did have 6 of them in looking at the box scores. That 3-point, it's a great shot, but you got to be careful living and dying with that shot. But that's basketball today, Ronnie. It's what it is. Everybody shoots threes now. The key is you want to make a third of them, right? Because making a third of your 3-point shot is like making 50% of your 2-point shots when you do the analytics. If you do the math or the math and you make 4 of 12 from 3-point line, right? You've made a third of them, but now you got 12 points. If you make 6 of 12 from 2-point land, you still have 12 points, but you shot 50%. So when you look at that, that's what that tells me, that Union was running good offense, and the Shannick probably had an off shooting night.
Yeah. John Corey also said that United probably didn't see the best version of the Lancers, and Nishanik from the floor was 14 of 55. That's
there you go. And I'd like to know how many of those were 3-point shots.
Yeah.
I'd like to know how many of those, because they shoot a lot of threes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody does, but Nishanik shoots a lot of them. So, I bet they had a poor shooting night. Not only talking about the two teams that got eliminated, how about Mohawk? 57-38, 19-point victory. Again, Bobby Fadden has 18 points. Drew Rona has 9. It looks like they dominated the game from start to finish. And when we look at foul shots, without knowing anything else, they shot 15, made 11. Everett shot 8, made 4. That's an 11 points, or I'm sorry, a 7-point swing from the line. But, they appeared to have dominated the game from start to finish. Mohawk got a lower seed than what they deserved because they lost early in the WPIAL playoffs. They were the number 1 seed in District 7 for their classification. So it doesn't get any easier for them, but if they make a run in this state playoffs, it won't surprise me.
Yeah, getting back to Nishanik, David Quat concludes his career at Nishanik with 1,692 career points. If memory serves me, I was tallying up his stats last night. Didn't have the greatest of years at the free throw line this season. I believe it was 86 out of 148. I think it was right around 60%, maybe a tick below 60%. And, you kind of expect somebody that's a great shooter like David Quat to be at the bare minimum low 70s, mid 70s from the free throw line.
Well, the fact that he got there and shot it 148 times tells you what kind of a player he is.
Right.
Oh, he's not just a one-trick pony. You go to the line and shoot 148 foul shots. Is that what you said? He shot 148 of them. Yeah, I mean, he's a great 3-point shooter, but at the same time, he's getting the ball in the paint, creating contact, and getting to the line. David Quat's a great player. His father was a great player. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And they're not done. Luca Pegli, his dad was Eddie Pegli, both great players. So they're not done. Of course, we got a Blundo on that team, Gino Blundo. And I haven't seen Gino play this year, but if he's anything like his brother, Ralph, he's pretty damn good also. So I expect Nishanik to be back at the top of the heap again next year.
Yeah, they lose some good talent, from the senior class. And one of David Quat's shining moments this year, he had a game where he had 10 3-pointers in one game. That's impressive.
It has to be the record or close to it at Nishanik. I think the record at Newcastle's 10, and it might be Anthony Richards who still has it. That's a lot of 3-pointers, buddy. That's a lot of 3-pointers, yes.
Yep, absolutely. And back to teams that got eliminated, the Union girls, the 4th place representative out of the WPIAL, 19-7 overall. They were bounced over the weekend by Elk County Catholic, 40-31 on Elk County Catholic's home floor. Larry Kelly, your thoughts on the Union girls?
They had a nice year. They're well coached. I mean, you can't win the WPIAL championship every year, and I think they won it twice in a row, didn't they? Three times in a row. Okay, I stand corrected. I said it last week in our show. The difference between a great season and a special season when you win a WPIAL championship is this, Ronnie. It's 1 or 2 plays. It's 1 or 2 games. It's somebody getting hurt. It's a call that goes the other way. Hey, look, they were in this game. This was a dogfight. But, again, look at the box score. One statistic, Elk County goes to the line and shoots 21 foul shots and makes 12. And Union went there 11, made 4, 8-point difference in a 9-point game. So, again, that maybe had something to do with the officiating because, once again, you're playing on Elk County Catholic's home court. You might have District 6 officials. They call it completely different than what they do in the WPIAL. The WPIALs, they're like NBA games. They let the kids play. So, wasn't there, don't know, but that game was decided from the foul line.
Right. And Union loses 3 players to graduation. However, the nice thing about Union, they had 6 players this year that were freshmen, and the vast majority of those freshmen got a lot of playing time. Allie Simons is a freshman, pretty sure, if memory serves me right, and she had 12 points in that game against South County Catholic. Erica Reichert had 10 points. She's also a freshman. So Rob Nogay's team, we're talking about them in defeat, but they're going to have some players back, and they got some really good experience, and they played very well in high pressure spots.
Well, and again, when you have success like they've had at Union in the last 3 years, winning a WPIAL championship, you get kids excited. They want to be part of that program. They want to play. So it doesn't surprise me that they have 3 ninth graders that were an integral part of their success this year.
Yep. Okay, and now we're going to shift over to our game segments. We have 2 games, 2 days worth of games, 2 on each day. Tuesday, March 10th, we have District 7 champ Neshannock, 23-3 against Penns Manor. That game is 6 p.m. and that's at Armstrong High School. And Penns Manor is 6-2, 22-5 overall.
Well, Armstrong's probably in Armstrong County, maybe. Is that where we're talking here?
It's the high school that was formerly Kittanning, so it's out in Kittanning.
Oh, yeah, it's Armstrong County. So, you're talking about an hour and a half ride on a school bus. And again, there's no cupcakes now. I mean, everybody after that first round can play, but I'm sure Luann has his team scouted, and I'm sure she'll have her team ready to play.
Yep, absolutely. Wilmington, the District 10 champ, 22-4 against Winchester Thurston. They're the WPIAL runner-up, as Winchester Thurston lost that championship game to Neshannock. Winchester Thurston is 22-4. This game is 6 p.m. Tuesday night at the Fieldhouse, Newcastle High School.
Wow, it's like a home game for Wilmington. That's a big advantage there. I'm sure Mike Jekovic got the film from Luann when they played him in the WPIAL championship, but knowing not much about Winchester Thurston, they rebound the basketball. So Wilmington better have they better be strong on the boards. They better be getting a body on somebody when that ball goes up, because as I recall, Winchester Thurston almost out rebounded Neshannock 2-1. But for all of those turnovers, that outcome could have been different.
Yeah, and when Winchester Thurston actually could say something that not too many teams could, and they had a halftime lead against Neshannock in that championship game.
Yeah. So they're the real deal. It'll be a great game. Should be a big crowd at the Fieldhouse.
Yeah, and that's the first of a doubleheader. I can't remember who's playing the nightcap. It's somebody from Mercer County, I believe. Hickory Boys are in the nightcap, if memory served me right.
Okay.
Wednesday, March 11th. Naturally, we've talked about this in a couple segments. Newcastle, the WPIAL runner-up, 24-2 versus Methacton. This is the District 1 third place school, 23-4. This game's 5:30 p.m. at Penns Valley High School on Wednesday night.
Yeah, again, Newcastle's probably a favorite, but you're playing basically on a neutral site, and you just never know what the officiating could be. I like the Red Hurricane, though. I do.
Mohawk, the fifth place representative out of the WPIAL, 24-2 overall versus Trinity, the District 3 champion, 21-2 is their overall record. This game is at 6 p.m. at Richland High School. I believe that's in Johnstown. And what a matchup this is. This is almost like a semifinal type matchup. This is this good.
These are 2 really, really good teams. I'm sure Trinity isn't real happy. They got to play Mohawk, and they got to deal with Bobby Fadden and Jay Rona because these kids can play. And Michael Lear have his team ready. This should be a great game. I look for this to be like a 1-possession game. And I said Jay Rona. I meant Drew Rona, right, the brother, because Jay has since graduated. But this should be a good one. This should be a really good one.
Bobby Fadden now is third place on the county's all-time scoring list with 2,250 points. Drew Rona is in Kai Cox territory. He's over 800 points. So, in future years, we're going to have, some really good ball players in the same grade. Kai Cox, Drew Rona, they're both, Cox is a sophomore this year. I think Drew Rona might be a junior, but regardless, they're coming back next year. And Drew Rona, as I mentioned, is over 800 points.
Yeah, but both prolific scorers.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, that's our games for this week, and that we know of right now. Obviously, winners on Tuesday would play Friday, and if Neshannock is a winner, Coach Grabowski is going for her 800th game on Friday, her 800th win.
Wow, something special.
Yeah, and Wednesday night winners will be playing on Saturday. So that's your schedule for the week. Anything else, Larry, that you'd like to say as we close up shop?
No, it's getting really exciting. I've been on a few of those state championship runs and Survive in Advance. That was the show of detailing the journey of the 1983 North Carolina State Wolfpack with Jimmy Valvano. And every year before we would start our playoff run at Newcastle, I would queue it up and watch it, Survive in Advance. And again, there's always a play, a call. If you're going to have that special season, there's always one play, one call, something happens that goes your way that had it gone the other way, that special season wouldn't have happened. So let's hope those things go our way for our Lawrence County team so that we can celebrate something really, really special in about a week and a half.
Yeah, the 21st, March 21st would be the 6A championship game for boys. So, not this weekend, but the following weekend is state championship weekend. And Larry, you are working remotely right now, right? You're coming to us from a remote area.
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm down here with the Penn State Shenango Valley baseball team. We're 2-1. We're playing really good baseball. We've had some really good games. We're going to have a really good team this year. So if you're a baseball fan and you enjoy watching college baseball, we're going to play our home games at Pemberton Park out there in Youngstown. We've got a bunch of local kids on the team that are really, really great players. So come out, watch them. You'll be happy you did.
When you come back, you will have to make sure you grab a paper. As Larry Kelly, you were my inspiration. My column runs in the Wednesday paper. You kept telling me, you got to write a column about it. You got to write a column about it. I'm writing a column about how the PIAA playoffs, regardless of what sport, should be champions only. And that runs Wednesday.
All right. I can't wait to read it. I know you were going off on a rant the last time we talked about this, and you're an excellent writer, so I'm sure it's going to be fact-filled and opinion-laden. So I'm anxious to read it. I'll make sure I read it down here. I get the Newcastle News Online. I read it every day. Like, just remember the old the USA Today. I think it was Mickey Mantle who said in that commercial, I read it every day, just like my pals say, hey. That's me.
Yep.
I read the Newcastle News every day.
Okay. Well, enjoy Myrtle Beach, Larry, and safe travels, and good luck with the baseball program, and good luck to the basketball players and teams and fan bases from Lawrence County that are still competing. And spring sports will start Friday. It's quite a time in Lawrence County for sports. We're closing up one sport in basketball and starting a whole bunch of other ones on Friday. So what a time to be alive, as they say.
Amen. Sounds great.
All right. Thank you for joining us, everybody. You can find us where I always tell you can find us, and that's on our YouTube page, on Spotify, on our Facebook page. Just about anywhere you think we are, we're there. He's Larry, and I'm Ron Poniewasz. We'll see you back here next week, everybody.
Thanks, Ronnie. Talk soon.